In the bustling city market of Greenshire, Merlan Yewmind, an unassuming centaur with an oval face, a long, billowing brunette mane, and deep-set green eyes, was enjoying a perfectly ordinary day. She had just picked out the juiciest apples and crunchiest carrots, her herbivorous heart content, when chaos struck. Out of nowhere, a grey cat, innocent-looking but with the stealth of a seasoned pickpocket, darted in and swiped a fish right under Merlin's nose. The fish merchant, eyes blazing with fury, immediately pointed a scaly finger at Merlan. "Thief!" he cried. Merlin's eyes widened in disbelief. "But I don't eat meat, I'm a vegetarian," she protested, her voice echoing through the market square. Alas, the guards, always eager to show off their authority, were having none of it. They clapped her in irons and dragged her away, her cries of innocence mingling with the jeers of the onlookers. As Merlan was unceremoniously hauled to the city jail, she caught sight of the grey cat perched on a rooftop. To Merlan it seemed the cat was grinning at her, taunting her with that invisible feline smile. In reality, the cat was just hungry and blissfully oblivious to the drama it had sparked. But to Merlan, this was personal. She vowed to one day get even with that cheeky cat. Days turned into weeks as Merlan languished in her cell, her protests of innocence falling on deaf ears. The guards, with their distinct lack of imagination, fed her hay and grass, treating her more like a common horse than the proud centaur she was. Her mane grew tangled, her spirit sagged, and hope seemed a distant dream. One fateful day, a breeze stirred through the dungeon corridors. Enter Mist, a female heir genasi with a penchant for the unusual and a nose for trouble. As she floated past Merlan's cell, she did a double-take. "A centaur in a cell? Now that's interesting," she mused. With a flick of her wrist and a whisper to the wind, the cell door creaked open. Merlan, blinking in surprise, cautiously stepped out. To her amazement, the guards lay unconscious, their snores echoing through the hall. She bolted for the exit, where Mist awaited with a mischievous grin. Mist introduced herself and made an irresistible offer. "How would you like to become a master thief?" Desperate for freedom and a chance to avenge herself, Merlan eagerly agreed. Thus began her training under Mist's expert guidance. Under Mist's tutelage, Merlan learned the art of stealth. She practiced moving silently, blending into shadows and slipping past guards without a whisper. Her centaur form, initially a hindrance, soon became an asset. With powerful legs, she could outrun any guard, and her equine grace allowed her to navigate the most precarious rooftops. Merlan learned to use her hooves' rhythmic clopping to mask other sounds, creating a deceptive echo that confused anyone trying to follow her. She also mastered the art of controlled breathing, allowing her to remain calm and silent, even in the most stressful situations. Merlan's centaur physique also brought unexpected advantages. Her keen eyesight allowed her to spot threats from a distance, and her powerful legs could leap across rooftops that would leave a human thief trembling. She practiced these skills tirelessly, turning every rooftop into a personal training ground. At night, the city became her playground. She'd leap from building to building, her mane flowing like a banner in the wind, her hooves landing with barely a whisper. Every shadow became a hiding place, every alley a secret passage. Their training regimen was rigorous and unorthodox. They'd spend nights sneaking into the city's wealthiest estates, avoiding traps and guard dogs, and making off with priceless trinkets. Mist emphasized not just the physical skills, but also the mental aspects, patience, observation, and quick thinking. They developed their own set of signals and codes, a secret language that allowed them to communicate silently during heists. Mist's training sessions were a blend of intense physical workouts and mental exercises. She'd set up obstacle courses that mimicked the challenges they'd face in real heists: walls to climb, tight spaces to squeeze through, and silent alarms to avoid. Merlan learned to think on her hooves, improvising solutions when plans went awry. Mist taught her how to read people, to understand their habits and predict their actions. They'd spend hours watching the market from the shadows, noting how the guards moved, how merchants interacted, and where the weak points in security were. Merlan's green eyes, once filled with naivety, now gleamed with cunning and insight. Their secret language was a stroke of genius. Using subtle gestures, barely noticeable nods, and even specific hoofbeats, they could communicate complex plans without a single word. This silent communication became their greatest weapon, allowing them to coordinate their actions seamlessly. One of their most daring exploits was stealing a priceless necklace from Lady Griselda, a noblewoman infamous for her greed. Lady Griselda's mansion was a fortress, bristling with guards and alarms. The perimeter was lined with high walls, and the grounds were patrolled by fierce guard dogs. Inside, the mansion was a labyrinth of traps and hidden alarms designed to thwart even the most cunning thief. Mist and Merlan spent weeks planning the heist. They observed the guards' routines, noted the times when the dogs were fed, and mapped out the mansion's layout from old blueprints they managed to acquire. Mist used her air genasi abilities to scout the area from above, while Merlan used her keen eyesight to spot potential entry points. On the night of the heist, the two moved like shadows. Mist, with her ethereal grace, floated over the walls, while Merlan, with her powerful legs, leaped over with ease. They timed their movements perfectly, slipping past guards and dogs without a sound. Inside the mansion, the real challenge began. They navigated through a maze of corridors, avoiding pressure-sensitive floors and silent alarms. Mist's knowledge of ancient traps proved invaluable as they disarmed hidden triggers and bypassed deadly snares. They finally reached Lady Griselda's private chamber, where the necklace was kept in a glass case, protected by the latest magical and mechanical security measures. Mist worked on disarming the magical wards, while Merlan used her agility to disable the mechanical locks. After what felt like an eternity, the final lock clicked open, and the case was theirs. The necklace, a masterpiece of jeweled craftsmanship, sparkled in the moonlight. They carefully extracted it and retraced their steps, leaving no trace of their presence. As they escaped the mansion, the first rays of dawn began to break. They returned to their hideout, exhilarated by their success. The necklace was sold to a collector who had no love for Lady Griselda, and the proceeds were distributed among the needy citizens of Greenshire. Of course, they kept a modest share for themselves. After all, even master thieves need to eat. As the months passed, Mist taught Merlan everything she knew. Their bond grew stronger, not just as mentor and student, but as friends who shared a common cause. But Mist knew that Merlan was ready to fly solo. One morning, Merlan woke to find Mist gone, leaving behind only a note. "Time to spread your wings, or hooves, as it were. Good luck." And so Merlan set out on her own, determined to make her mark. One bright morning, Merlan strolled through the market, blending seamlessly with the crowd. Her hoofsteps were light, her posture relaxed, but her eyes were sharp, scanning for a familiar grey blur. There it was, the grey cat lurking near the fish stalls, waiting for its moment. Merlan's heart raced with anticipation, but she kept her composure. Today was the day for sweet, sweet revenge. With the stealth of a ninja and the precision of a surgeon, Merlan moved into position. She waited for the perfect moment, her mane fluttering in the gentle breeze. The cat, eyes fixed on a particularly plump fish, crept closer. Just as it was about to pounce, Merlan, with a swift and practiced motion, slipped a fish into the cat's mouth. The cat froze, bewildered by the sudden appearance of the fish. The fish merchant, eyes gleaming with vindication, grabbed the cat. "Aha! Caught you at last!" he exclaimed, lifting the bewildered feline by the scruff of its neck. The guards, ever ready to pounce on a new target, swiftly apprehended the cat, their faces alight with triumph. As the cat was dragged away, it caught a glimpse of Merlan standing nearby, a triumphant smile playing on her lips. The cat's expression was a mix of confusion and indignation, but Merlan felt a wave of satisfaction. Sweet, sweet revenge. Now a master thief in her own right, Merlan dedicated herself to stealing from the undeserving rich and redistributing their ill-gotten gains to those in need. Of course, she kept a small portion for herself. One must maintain a certain standard of living, after all. Merlan's reputation grew. She became a legend in Greenshire, a phantom thief who stole from the rich and gave to the poor. The guards, frustrated and embarrassed by their inability to catch her, concocted wild stories about her. Some said she could turn invisible, others claimed she had magical powers. But in reality, it was her training and her wits that made her unstoppable. Her escapades became more audacious. She once infiltrated the Duke's treasury, not only stealing gold, but also leaving behind a note that read, "Better luck next time." The Duke was furious, but the people of Greenshire cheered. They knew that Merlan was on their side. Merlan's heists became the stuff of legend. She would outwit guards with ease, her hoofbeats a mere whisper on the wind. She once stole a priceless painting from the mayor's mansion, replacing it with a crude drawing of a smiley face. The mayor's outrage was only matched by the townspeople's amusement. Another time, she infiltrated a high society gala disguised as an extravagant centerpiece. While the elite of Greenshire gossiped and boasted, Merlan silently relieved them of their jeweled accessories, leaving behind thank-you notes folded into intricate origami shapes. But it wasn't just about the thrill for Merlan. She always had a purpose. She knew the struggles of the common folk, and she made sure her efforts made a real difference. She funded orphanages, repaired crumbling homes, and provided food for the hungry. Her actions turned her into a hero, a symbol of hope for the downtrodden. The guards, meanwhile, became increasingly desperate. They doubled patrols, set traps, and even brought in so-called experts to catch her. But Merlan was always one step ahead. She reveled in the challenge, her mind always racing with new ideas, new ways to outsmart those who sought to stop her. And so, dear viewers, if you enjoy the misadventures of Merlan Yewmind, don't forget to subscribe, share, and most importantly, comment. Keep your eyes peeled for more tales from the Dungeon Master's bag of holding. Until next time, stay mischievous.